Alrighty. Check the community challenge. Ooh. Maybe? Maybe? Actually, no, I think this was a blessed one. Yeah, everybody's feeding it anyway. Never mind. Well, we'll just go to monstertrain and chill. You know the drill. So on and so forth. Diligent. Wow. I don't know how chill this will be. Although it is a good combo and I have some pretty good starters. Well, we'll see. Still probably gonna need like apparels if I want to do like superfood void mining, but even I don't know, this boss lineup is something else. Yeah, we're hardcore looking for apparels here. Could do the boring safe route and just do aggressive edible. That ain't fun. That ain't fun. Skip, I guess. Well, we're not gonna have a good ring one. I don't think. But I can still take the money. Plinks, don't fail me. Don't fail me, Plinks. Right, one here was okay. Nice. Don't think I want to Ember Drain because well, I mean, I could do that. It's probably fine. That might be the best thing. We're just never going to play another card the entire fight. I don't know. I don't know that that's actually good. I don't think... Tough to say. Ew. Well, leak 7 should be the last leak. Alright. If I'd done the void binding, maybe I can get through without leaking, but I'm like, well, I'd have to lose like 9, I guess, to the scourges anyway, so 7 seemed better. There was a chance, by the way, that I didn't leak that 7. If I had drawn Razor Sharp Edge earlier, the second one, I could have done it. But definitely perils here. Magic lines up nicely here. Maybe not so nicely there. But, yeah, we'll want to hold over. It's good to have late hell vents when you're doing diligent peril stuff. And the magics are pretty good. This one's certainly hittable. I just have to give up a steal. It's not the end of the world. I think a third Razor Sharp Edge might be overkill. I wouldn't mind a Steel Enhancer. That's another 0 cost for Diligent. It counteracts Razor Sharp. It is okay with Primordium. We'll just do that. We could do Animus. You have to remember that it's possible we get something like Animus. Both Animuses here. And I think that's fine. It just means I can't take a like a clergyman trial. You know, Superfood gives them enough health that I don't think I'm too worried about taking this. So we definitely want quick on our unit. Preserve damage shield and such. I don't think there's any reason to take hollow here. It would allow me to take a clergy trial some of the time, but that's about it. I think we're just gonna skip. Definitely want as many zero costs as possible. Alright, no holdover. It is what it is. Don't even think I want to do a 10. I want gold for the next thing to be able to re-roll if I have to. Worse. Why not? I mean, there's a chance I could just take it, but it's just gold. It's fine. We technically could have. All we had to do is draw one plink, but it's fine. Extra health is fine. For this fight, maybe a void binding at this point could be okay. It would stack like 11 rage and 4 damage shield. I don't know. It means I can't take out the foot soldier. Could if I can get perils and a plank. I guess Razor Sharp Edge kills it. You know what? Let's do it. Since we're Ember drained, might as well just go all the way, right? Never playing another card. Got him. Could do Mind Collapse. I doubt we would need a Space Prism. Sting, maybe? Maybe into Pusher we want Divine Grasp. I don't know. Maybe, yeah, Divine Grasp is fine. It's a zero cost backline clear if I get stuck into Ember Drain again. Boom. Easy game, easy life. Blood for blood, maybe. If I start against Pusher, though, it might be nice just to start with 25 health. Probably not using this unit, but if I do use this unit, it would suck to use up a slot. I don't know if I'm using the unit, though. Like, I would say if I brick here and this, I mean, the brick would be like hollows. I would just use the hollow at that point and bite the bullet. Like, I would use a Thorn Hollow over the Animus' speed. I didn't think it was worth adding at that point. So most likely we find one of the good backliners and we just put the speed into it. So, I doubt we use speed as an actual unit. It's also, I don't know, it's like, it's definitely, I'm just gonna take this. Blood for Blood is actually so good. Especially because, like, if I don't find a sweeper, if I don't find a Furnace Tap or Umbra Stone, like, I might just need that extra protection. Do I want the money? I don't think so, because I still am probably not going to hit that hell vent. I guess I have to hit here to hit this hell vent. And even then, I'm like, is it worth it? Because I'm giving up. Well, Horde's not good in this combo, but yeah, if I hit here, the banner's not that important. The Vortex would be alright, but I think hell venting the perils would be better than the Vortex and a very low value artifact. Either way, we don't need money coming up, so let's keep the shards low. Low and slow. Like a nice brisket. Alright, the exact situation does come up, however. I could just void binding it, which I think I will. I mean, I'm debating just putting the Primordium in front at that point. I think that makes sense. We're going to be Ember Drained. I guess it survives this shot. I think I still just want to do this. Once I find the perils, we should be fine. And we find it immediately. I forgot how stupid this thing is. Well, I mean, this plus that already takes care of that, so why don't we just do that? Earned some health. This floor. Earning some health back though. Like I said, blood for blood. I think in the long run this was the call. This is no good. Actually, pretty much nullified the damage there at least. This plink could be okay. Alright, that was worth saying. I could have put a dude up here, but oh wow, look how close that was. I did not expect that. What the fuck? That is fucked up. What a balanced boss. Shroud Spike almost certainly won't be good. Kindle probably won't. Rail Spike probably is okay. Alright, we're bricking. Hollow is not good enough for me to settle for. I think we just gotta go to the right. Draw. I don't know why I would do anything else. Alright, well the bricks continue. We've had unit draft, we've had Awoken banner, we've had the boss, now we'll have another Awoken banner. Can we somehow miss on 3 different uncommon units that many times in a row? We'll see. Nope. The bad luck had to run out eventually, and it indeed did. And to be fair, we have had good luck getting the perils at least. I had to search twice for it, but that's not that unreasonable. Pierce there seems fine. -2 there seems actually worth. I'm not too worried now. Like, we're just gonna be destroying shit. That might not have been that smart to take with blood for blood, but I mean, I'm killing everything with a sweeper anyway. So, void binding. Are we getting stalwart, I guess? Maybe not. If I will say also, if I don't get like stalwart, we're not like necessarily that strong. There's a lot you have to hit on, actually. I mean, these restores, are they worse than the stewards? I'd have to imagine so. Spell shield don't mean shit. That's how you dig. Can you dig it? No, we don't want to necessarily overestimate our situation here. So I lose damage shield every time I hit him. He may as well be multi-striking to some degree. But do have some lifesteal that I've stacked. Sweeper on lifesteal though can be bad. Ooh, furnace tap over binding. I have to imagine that's the call. I mean, with a sweeper, taps, I guess, yeah. They're both great, actually. Take that. It's fodder. It might be needed, you never know. Mini boss still might be an issue if I draw poorly. Let's go for potential. I could have waited to try to find quick here, but whatever. Of course. How many steals are we hitting? Not that one. So no more. Let's go ahead and just give him some health. Maybe plus 10 attack would be the ideal here, actually. Nice, okay. I think it is. We've already got the other point of superfood, so gauge is not good. 10 and pierce again. Spell chain, I know where that's going. There, it doesn't have to, honestly. Like, doesn't have to. But, yeah, it will. So I gotta get to 25 more shards. I can take 15 there and 10 there, and that's already good enough. I don't think we need piercing on this stuff. When I'm a quick multi-striking sweeper, there's just no need. Are we worried about, like, stealth boss? I mean, it is possible that I can't get enough damage shield. Let's do that. We'll keep all the stews for now, just in case. Alright, not even worried. Spikes, Spikes is a bit shitty, though. I would imagine that could be bad. Should have ensnared one of those first. I think I still will. There's no huge downside to not. I do want to draw to the thing as fast as possible. We should keep it. Oh wait, there's no stealth boss. So it's not a wide harvester either, so why don't we just do that? Well, this Primordium did not hit on a single razor sharp edge. Furnace tap, perils, or void binding, or rail spike. I somehow in the bottom like 10 had every single one of those fucking cards, but sure. So we basically don't even stack any of these at all. In fact, I should be putting them here because I'm actually losing out on the buff, but yeah, whatever. Fuck it. Sure, why not just draw that then? Seems like an amazing thing to do. I mean, whatever, we're gonna beat this boss, it doesn't really matter. Trying to pay attention as well to think about how diligent might go. I don't think an Ember Cache is worth adding for Diligent. I think I have enough fodder. You know, I don't have to remove Immortal Trade, even though it's technically not really doing much for me, but especially when I'm striking 3 times at a certain point. We just really want to get to the cards that we need, and this card just isn't... It might be worth adding, but... I don't know. I think they really need to unnerf it back to 0. It was such a just solid, decent card. Gave Awoken more reasons to exist other than, hey, look at us, we have sweepers. Sometimes we have root seeds, and sometimes we have the Animus of Will. That's basically Awoken. Most of the other stuff generally sucks. Even though it is fun to like pull off Awoken Hollow and Thorn Hollow, it's realistically it doesn't actually work a lot of the time. And then you just have this crap. Like, look at this uncommon tier. Invigorating Solution is not a bad card, but these certainly are. And I don't know, maybe Invigorating Solution is bad. Like, it's definitely not as good as Rail Spike. Significantly worse. But, like, I don't know. I could probably add it here. We'll see if I end up regretting it. Consume remove. Refracting lenses. Firebox would allow intrinsic Awoken Rail Spike to be pretty good, but there's not necessarily a high chance of that. I mean, I don't know. I don't know that I need a refracting lenses. Like, I don't feel wave leak is gonna be an issue for me anymore. Whereas this just... And if it is, like... I have the Blood for Blood. Let's just just gives me a little more upside if I do happen to draw this early. I don't know if I really want to consume remove any of this. I don't think I do. 0 cost, that would be fine. I think it's that at 0 makes a lot of sense. Double stack that seems pretty good. I could hold out for a -2, but I'd rather just bring it down now. I should have checked the cavern before I did all that, by the way. Yeah, potential punish. We could sap the enemy. Divinity, particularly, I think is fine. Descend. Gold. It's mildly okay. We can get rid of stews now. Would it be wild of me to go bottom in this fight? If I go in right now, I would kill all of that. We did draw a rail spike at the start, though. Still is potential that I bottom deck all my good shit again. I think because we have... it's just going to be too many Scourges if I'm not killing them. I think we're going to try for a bottom floor setup here. Draw 9. Okay. I can play that early, which is good. Definitely Firebox here was the best call. Got 8 strikes. Go get a flying kill, but it'll be a light one. Yeah, next turn. Damn, well. Guess fucking Fell is scared. Literally had 4 waves remaining when it was here. For some reason it doesn't come here. I think it's because it screwed up the pathing when I descended it. Too bad I didn't get the descend card again. It just goes to show how hard it is to get a flying kill ring 3. I mean, I had that furnace tap the first turn. I did freaking 8 strikes. Still can't get the flying kill. Whatever. Annoyed. Another furnace tap, sure. Alright, we need definitely more perils for the shit agent. I may go bottom on the shit agent too. We'll see. Alright, Stalwart's great. That definitely gives me more upside. You're not scared of this at all. there, whatever. Get the money. Sure. So far, invigorating solution has been largely irrelevant. I could be trying to plink those guys so that they don't, like, hit my damage shield, but I think I'm really not too worried when I'm striking this powerfully. Guess I should be trying to get the old magic gold, but whatever. No reason to delay it out. I don't even think Wretch is good here. Once we're in there, we're in there. You know what though? It is a 0 cost. Let's take it. Gives me 2 Shroud Spikes on this run of all runs. Edge Prior and Wildwood Custodian, Restoring Retreat. Yep. It's Awoken Uncommons for you. I mean, Awoken is literally actually just a horrible clan. Like, they're very, very covered by the fact that they have the 3 most... They just have the best selection of banner units. Not even as a whole, just the fact that there's 3 really good ones just makes it so likely to hit them, and their essences are pretty good. But honestly, Awoken is such a bad clan otherwise. Like, their commons are nothing to write home about. Like, Razor Sharp Edge is good, but it isn't that good, honestly. Like, it's only that good because they're so reliant on it, because the others are so fucking bad. Like, Sharpen is so fucking bad. Rootseeds is great, but we're more thinking of Restore variant Awoken. Like, I don't think Restedetto's really all that good. It can be okay, but it's not consistently good. Sap is like okay, but you have to really get a lot going for it to be a game plan. Glamour I've become less and less of a fan of. It's okay, but it's a card that absolutely has to get upgraded, so if you don't hit like a temple or have a good Merchant of Magic coming up, it's a pretty useless initial add. Vine Grasp is like whatever, I think. It's okay, but it often isn't that good. And Sting is not that good, I feel, and Stealing Answer is not that good, I feel. So, like, their common tier is pretty bad, as we just saw. Their uncommon tier, Ensnare is great, one of the best cards in the game. Pyrogrow is overrated, I think. I think drawing -2 the next turn is fucking brutal for most decks, but it is not a bad card, I will say, and it does fit a lot of decks decently. We're not really talking about banners right now. We're just talking about the drafts. Edge Prior is hilariously bad, one of the worst cards in the game. Engraft is fine, but really if you're not running Awoken Hollow, Thorned Hollow, or Steel Singer, which in my opinion is going to be most Awoken runs, then it's not really serving a purpose. Like the game, like maybe it's a weird way out of Ember Drain. It's really not that good of a way out of Ember Drain, and I mean, I guess it could work for that. And that's really, I guess it's a free incant. Maybe if it's pink, it's okay for Wormkin. Otherwise, it's really not that good of a card. Like, it's not a bad card, but it's not a top tier card. It's very situational. And the situation that it comes up in for my playstyle isn't going to come up that often. I think we've seen it with Invigorating Solution. Like, I had to pay 25 gold for it to even, like, kind of make sense to be in the deck, and it still has not really done anything for me. It's not that good. I think Preserved Thorns is still okay. But both these cards were just much better at their 0 cost variants. I don't think they were so overpowered that they were... Out of all the cards in the game, I don't know why these ones received nerfs. It's weird. Fire Shard is a joke. We all know this is just a fucking joke. 4 spikes doesn't kill anything in the game. It never even did initially. It always sucked. This card has always sucked. But it especially sucks now when everything is sharded up. Like, how many times are you going to have to play that to kill an endgame backliner? It's hilariously bad. And while this Custodian just sucks, it's like, it's a delayed draw. You have to spend 2 turns, put it on board, have it survive, for it to even be draw positive, and it's not a priority draw, so it fucking sucks. Bramble-Ash fucking sucks. Like, the upside is obviously there, and you'll find it in like 1 out of 1,000 runs. Focus Growth is like okay, but it's pretty overcosted, I think. Like, this could be a card that could cost 1, and I would like it a lot more. Obviously, you can pay 25 gold for that, but it's, you know, 25 gold is deceiving, right? There's a lot of stuff you want to put that 25 gold on. It's not just 25 gold. It's you know, it's like, you only have so many Ember upgrades you can make on a run, and if this requires it to be good, then that's not a good selling point for it. You know, this is not a ritual battle level of good thing where it's like, okay, I can build around this card, right? Like, rarely can you just build around Focus Growth. It heals an okay amount, and it draws an okay amount the next turn. It costs 2 entire Ember to do that. It's just middle of the road. Restoring Retreat is an absolute joke. This thing should cost fucking 0 mana, and then it might be somewhat usable. And Awake, somewhat usable again, but, you know, you have to kind of already have, like, you either need a regen thing going on already with Wildwood Sap, and then you build into it. It still sucks for that, right? This is a card that, by the way, got nerfed. It used to be regen 4. Again, no idea why this needed to be nerfed. Out of all the cards in the game, why did this one get nerfed? It would still suck at regen 4. But it is takeable sometimes. I guess both Focus Growth and Awake, like the restore amount, sometimes you just need that defensively if nothing else has been coming up. But they're so overcosted. So the uncommon tier, you know, remove Ensnare from this and it's fucking horrible. The worst uncommon tier in the game. Even Umbra has a better uncommon tier. And then the rare tier, now keep in mind we just outlined, they probably have the worst common tier, the worst uncommon tier, so that's 2 entire tiers out of the 6 clans that they're the worst at. And then at the rare tier, it's a little bit better, but it's still not great. Like, Awoken Rail Spike is just a very takeable card. There is a lot of upside with it, right? And it can do infinites. You can't really say anything bad about Rail Spike, though I will say this. I think there are a lot of runs where it doesn't actually do much for you. But the upside is that even when it doesn't do much for you, it's not hurting you to have it in the cart, in the deck, really. Channel Song's horrible. Fucking horrible. Like, it just... because of the way priority draw works in this game, coupled with the fact that the non-priority draw units that you would want to pull from this, you wouldn't want health on. You wouldn't want health on a Fledgling Imp. You wouldn't want health on, like, a Tomb. You could get away with it if you have, like, a Burnout 1 upgrade, but in general, you do not want health on your token units, which would be what you would want to pull out. So, like, to actually get it on a banner unit or a champ, there's so many things you have to do to make this actually work, and the payoff isn't even that good at that point. It's just such a bad card. And then Shard Channeler, it's good when it's good, right? Like, this is a card that can make Thorned Hollow actually work, but it's still 2 health, it's still non-priority draw, and it just doesn't fit into most decks. There's not enough spike. There's not enough support for spikes for the. If there was more support for spikes, this would be fine. Like, if Pyre Shards, Sharpen, and Cycle of Life actually gave a acceptable amount of spikes, then this would be an amazing card. But the fact of the matter is, it only really works with Thorn Hollow. I could say that it works with stuff like Little Icarus, but like, you would never need this for Little Icarus, and I wouldn't even add it. It's like just an extra unit that might die, and then I have to like fuck up my reform pool. Now, Unleash the Wildwood is a very good card, I will admit that. That is kind of like Rail Spike. You're never hurting to have it in your deck, and the upside is incredible. Wildwood Toma is usually pretty acceptable pick. I will say with Awoken though, often I already have quick by this point, so it doesn't matter, but it is nice to have this be an option for quick. So no complaints about Wildwood Tome. And Adaptive Mutation is generally an amazing card. Obviously Rage is the most easy way to pick it, but there's even more. There's a lot of situations where you can make Adaptive Mutation be pretty good, like with Corruptor's Fine Chief, for example, but even sometimes just simply flipping, even if you're not cheating out the flipping, sometimes it is just good to have a unit that has a bunch of high health and you can flip the attack. Or alternatively, a bunch of attack that you want to flip and make be a tank. Adaptive Mutation, I cannot say anything bad about that card. That is one of my favorite cards. Now, Spreading Spores, I can say a lot about this card. I think this card is so fucking bad. I've said it before, I'll say it again. You could give it heal 1 or heal 2. Maybe it would make more sense just to be in line with the numbers here, but you know, it costs 2, regen 2, spikes 2, heal 2. I could probably justify that card in a lot of decks, but it still wouldn't be amazing. But the current version of it is an absolute joke. It's generally just worse than Restore, which is already a fucking shit card. This card is one of the worst cards in the game. You'll never be able to convince me otherwise. I don't think it fits into any deck at all. And every time I've taken it, I almost always regret it. And Cycle of Life is just way overcosted. There's another card that got a nerf. It used to give, I think, 4 spikes. I guess that was too much. I do not know why this card received a nerf out of everything. This has been the most over-nerfed clan, by the way. Like, I didn't even list, like there's other stuff I've forgotten here. Like, Unleash the Wild would used to be 0. Which is, I guess, this is an acceptable change, but it's like in the grand context of things, I'm like, why did Awoken get picked on so much? And Awoken's Rail Spike used to give -2 to those cards, but Rail Spike makes sense. Once they released Wormkin, there's no way that they could leave that at -2. But it is worth noting that they basically just universally have received nerfs. Yet the 3 really amazing units that skew their win rate high never received a nerf. So it's like, I don't know. It's just weird to me. Like, I wouldn't... Pyrogrow is like the only thing that received a buff that I can even see on here. Like, these cards got nerfed. Pyrogrow used to be one of the worst cards in the game. That card got nerfed. And we're not talking about banners. Technically, Thorn Hollow did get buffed, but yeah, you know, and I will say I talked up some of the rares, but I would say as a whole, their rare drafts are nothing to write home about. They're probably not the worst pool of rares, though. But definitely the worst pool of uncommons and uncommons. Now, you know, I might as well give the reiteration. The reason Awoken is a acceptable clan is right here. Animus of Will, Husk Hermit, Shattered Chill. And that's it. That's it. Their heroes are nothing to write home about either. They're champions, I should say. They're very middle of the road. And honestly, I don't really think Awoken Hollow, Animus' Speed, and Thorn Hollow are amazing, but they're definitely better than like Umbra and Melting units, right? The uncommons that suck of those clans are definitely worse than Animus' Speed, Awoken Hollow, and Thorn Hollow. So it's like, it's kind of the combination of the 3 amazing banner units, and then the other 3 are acceptable. And Animus' Speed has a good essence. And sometimes Awoken Hollow has a good essence. Thorn Hollow does not have a good essence. You'll never be able to convince me of that. But the rare, I don't know. Like, Steel Singer, I think, dare I say it's a fun card. I think it's a little overrated. There are definitely runs where it's incredibly awkward to make this work. While Wilting Sapwood's one of the worst rares in the game, I think Vine Mother is as well. I don't think people can convince me that Vine Mother is good, or even middle of the road. I think it's just straight up as bad as Wilting Sapwood, honestly. I would even go so far as to say I could probably make better use of a Wilting Sapwood than a Vine Mother in most cases. At least I can go endless Wilting Sapwood, and I can technically gain Ember from it. But I digress. Or just use it as a tank and just have a bunch of Ember. Whereas this is like delayed Sting, which is also delayed draw, so it's like Vine Mother is basically kind of like, in a way, it's kind of like Wildwood Custody, but worse. Uses more pip. The draw is even more delayed. It continues to like delay draw in your deck. It's just, I don't know. It's horrible. Cool tangent there. Anyway, let's kill Diligent now. Another double stack, nice. Okay, I can -2 that. Double stack it, I like that. Let's see what's here. I got a lot of money. Firestone Housing, of course. Nothing. Cleansing Water, maybe. Make a bunch of removals. Seems okay to me. Don't think I want to Shit Frost. I could Shit Frost or Wretch. I'd just rather remove a bunch of stuff. Might just do that. Yeah, let's just remove a bunch of stuff. Anything that is 1 cost should just get out of here. Alright. Yeah, I should put it on Vine Grasp. Whatever. Third one of them might not be needed in this deck, honestly. I might just do that. Try to go for fly and kill. I think we're gonna go bottom floor in this fight if we can somehow get away with it. Let's go intrinsic there. Well, we'll get to the 150, but that's fine. I don't want to go that high shards into Diligent. You never know with Diligent. It's kind of a fucked up thing, the whole stealth. Kind of fucks everything up. Okay. Put you there. There. We'll get rid of that. Play that. Alright. That is not too shabby. I don't mind getting those vengeful shards down. We'll leak that, but whatever. Alright, at least this served a purpose, being a 0 cost fodder. Congratulations. You did good. Diligent. Love that he does 3 things. Really? Vine Grass could take him out. Now, I don't know if I care about Wretch. Got 2 stacks left, so it's either Steel Enhancer or Wretch. I want to keep the Vine Grass because I'm going to have to kill these fuckers. I suppose a Wretch is technically better. This guy's about to take me. definitely will get rid of that. I guess technically the jack strips would have been fine there. I forgot about that. I could just save this. I don't know though. Seems probably not worth it. Fuck you, Diligent. Alright. If I don't get a flying kill on this fight, I don't know what I have to do to get a flying kill. Please give me one. I'm pretty confident I'll get it here. It's mathematically impossible for me not to. Look at all that. I got both the furnace taps. Everything. I like this start. Alright. Invigorating solution. I mean, it's like technically it lets me draw more in these turns, but it's like, I don't know. Functionally, I just don't feel that it was relevant. That's a flying kill right there, baby. Fucking get got. Boom. Knew I'd get one eventually. But yeah, I don't know. Kind of like I laid out there, I'm going to do one little quick review. I do actually wonder, like, I'm going to see, like, I'm going to just rank, do a quick ranking of, I think, of the rares, because I already know I rank Awoken as the worst common and uncommon drafts, so do they actually have the worst rares as well? Let's find out. Real quick before I forget though, I think that could be a fun run for people. The full monstertrain package with Superfood generally is. So, AnywhereRecorderWherever. AnywhereRecorderWherever, that kind of has a theme sandwiched in there. But yeah, let me check just the rare pool. I know it's not going to beat Hellhorn. Like, yeah, Spike of the Hellhorn sucks, we all know that, but Dark Deal is amazing. I think Alloy is amazing. Impelate is bleh. When you have Queen's Implings, it's nice in a bad run. I'd still say it's leagues ahead of Spreading Spores. Transcendent, we all know that. We all know the power of Transcendent. We don't need to even go through the rest of this. Obviously, it's better than Awoken. This is the one I wonder about, but I think it's still going to beat Awoken. Spike, I think Spike is pretty bad. I think this card gets more, or not as much hate as it deserves. The sap rate is not good. 1 ember per 1 sap is not good. And Frostbite just doesn't matter that much. It's just a very bad one and done card. I think it's bad. Harness of Titan's very bad. This card's maybe Spreading Spores level, so it's not up to a good start. But boom, we got Ice Empire. Amazing, amazing card. Even more amazing DLC where this ridiculous amount of extra damage that you can get is quite necessary, honestly, in a lot of runs. And the fact that I find in the DLC much more than the original game, I just have to go top more often. Very rarely am I setting up mid or bottom. Like, it was generally top pre-DLC, but I had plenty of builds that I feel were mid and bottom pre-DLC. But yeah, nowadays, Ice and Fire is super top tier. Siren Song, I think, is plenty fine. It's kind of more of like a tech card. It's not always... It's rarely a card I would build around. You definitely can, but... it's a card that definitely is like an answer to Patient, it can be an answer to just set up top floor for something like Tethys or something, and if you double stack it, it technically kills the waves, so other than a mini boss wave. So I think it's a pretty good card. Deep Offering I think is pretty good. It's something that can facilitate an infinite, but it can just be nice to dig through your deck. This is like everything that... This card is what Invigorating Solution wishes it was, I think. And Ancient Synergy is amazing. I've always loved this card, and I continue to. The 3 Ember is acceptable for how powerful it is. If you can get a Piercing upgrade on it, if you can get Spell Weakness, it just deletes the entire floor. It's stupid. And it can delete the entire floor of tanks. Gifts is, I think, a good card. It's just a card I don't take because I don't like it. It just doesn't feel fun to have this be your thing. But I'll tell you this, and if you need like your deck to be saved from being bad and Gifts comes up, you better take it. It is technically a very powerful card. It did get a nerf. You know, you used to be able to do a like a Surge Stone or whatever on a card and then consume remove it, and then Gifts doesn't actually consume the card when it applies consume, because the consume remove used to overwrite that. I guess they were worried about shenanigans with Wormkin. It's too bad, because I really liked the card back then. I think it was very interesting to play around that mechanic, and you still had to set it up. But all that being said, it's still a decent card. Now, Hoarfrost Effigy is not a decent card, so we have 3 cards in here that are pretty bad. Like, kind of. But I don't know. If I go back to Awoken, we have 1, 2 that are on that bad level, I think. So, like, it doesn't have the quantity of super bad cards that Stygian has, but there's still like cards like Cycle of Life that, while they're not super bad, there's cards like Shard Channeler, while they're not super bad, they're still worse than everything else in the Stygian kit here, right? I think it's debatable between Awoken and Stygian which one's worse, but I think they're comparable. Maybe Stygian's is worse, though, as I look at the 2. It's close. What about Umbra? I always felt Umbra had a good rare tier, but maybe... Certainly Forever Consumed is not good. I don't think Kindle is very good. I think it's too niche to be considered good. Shroud Spike is very good, but I wonder if... There's so many runs where it just doesn't make sense to add. Is it really that good because of that? I tell you what, though, it is one of the most fun cards to make work when you just have morsels. This one in particular. Same with Wretch. I think Wretch and Shroud Spike, it's like, Wretch, it's mainly like, do you have Morsel Made or do you have Primordium? Otherwise, it's pretty bad. But I think you have Primordium or Morsel Made often enough that Wretch is not considered a bad card. But it is certainly situational. Probably a little bit better than like a Shard Channeler, because the situation comes up more often that it is good, but it is in that kind of realm. Same with I think Spike and Mitosis are in that realm too. Like, how often are you going morsels on a run? Not that often. That's why they're not really that good. And Mitosis is just not that good in general, which is weird because it was super good pre-DLC. one of the best cards in the game, I would even say, but it's certainly not that good now. It's usable. It's certainly better than Spreading Spores, though. None of these, nothing, even Forever Consumed, none of that's as bad as Spreading Spores or Channel Song. Now, Furnace Tap is one of the best rares in the game, if not the best. What more can I say about Furnace Tap? Same with Umberstone. They're both in the tier of like almost always takeable. Furnace Tap a little less, but honestly, outside of one of those decks, I think you can still use Furnace Tap. Like in a non-Ember Drain deck, sometimes Furnace Tap still works. Then I think Shroud Spike is actually in the realm of power of those three. It just isn't as takeable. But certainly Emberstone is like always takeable. And Blazing Bolts, this is a card that's probably better than I give it credit for. It just sucks that it has to like be played twice to actually get to what it should just come in at. It should just come in at that level if it costs 3, right? I would suggest that it just starts at 1, then goes to 2, then goes to 3. Like make it a little easier to ramp it up. But it's okay. Not good. It's not good, but it's better than like Forever Consumed. And certainly better. It's better than Cycle of Life, right? Like if I were to compare. So I don't know. I think this is definitely better than the Awoken rares. Wax's Spike, it's okay. It's Burnout Extension. It can be scaling. Rarely is that scaling super relevant, but sometimes it can be. But it's a good card. 4 Burnout for free, essentially. It's not a bad thing, especially when the best plan with Melting Remnant these days is to just extend your Burnout. I think Sac Res sucks. There's definitely cool things you can do with it, but as a like, how often can I take this card and make it be good? It's pretty bad. I think it's a bad card. Now I think Wilgus Screaming is a good one. This is a card I think probably I have one of the most different opinions than most of the MT community on. It's not a great card, but I don't know. It's a card that it's 0 cost, so there's not like huge downside to adding it in a deck, other than I guess it doesn't draw itself, like an Ensnare would. But I don't know. I think it's a way out of Ember Drain. It's a way to remove like melee weakness. Sometimes the actual burnout removal can be good. Like if you have Fade's First Blade, this can be like a hypercharged ritual in a lot of decks. That's a nice thing too. Like it just has a lot of interesting things you can do with it. I sometimes take it, and it's also just one of the best benefactors of like permafrost. It's nice to just have permafrost not be a dud. That being said, I don't think it's great. It's just like good. And Devourer of Death I hate. It's just weird design of a unit. The Essence is sometimes takeable, though even that, I'm honestly taking it less and less these days. I think it's pretty bad. I think Intent on Death is pretty bad too. This is a card that probably has had the most changes of any single card. It even used to be in a different like rarity entirely. It used to be uncommon. But it is rare now. It used to just be a 0 cost not consume at one point, I believe. Then it went up to like a 2 cost not consume. And then it ended up as a consume 1 cost. And I don't know. It's just like a win more card, in my opinion. It's cool on like Firelight, and it's about it. Maybe a Legion of the Wax. It's like, it's just a win more card. I don't think it's very good. Remnant Pack, I think, is amazing. I was surprised to see some people didn't like this card. I'm like, this is like one of the best cards in the game, I feel. But it's not always takeable, obviously. But man, when you need Endless, and often, most of the time I think you do, it's amazing. And it actually synergizes with other clans quite often. Like, for instance, Primordium. You can make it Endless, which is amazing. And then Formless Child isn't that good, but I don't know, that it can be good. Like, there's runs where it's the only way I could have won was Formless Child. It technically is crazy scaling, but the random effect, like, you have to be really specific with what you're doing with it. It's not priority draw. It costs 2. The enemy has to kill it. Like, there's a lot going against it. And you know, if burnout timers are a thing, it's usually bad as well. Because it's like, you want it to come back either with no burnout or a bunch of burnout. But Formless Child is probably making that tough. Hallowed Halls is amazing, though. Sometimes it doesn't, often enough it doesn't make sense to add to a deck, but more than often enough it just saves a run. And it on holdover just solves the run. So definitely, I think overall, I would say this definitely better than Awoken's rare. Then we get to Wormkin. Wormkin Spike, I think, is a very good card. Accelerate Incubation, I don't like the card, but it has its purpose. It's certainly not bad, right? And Echoes of Past, I think, is amazing. This is like one of the best scaling cards in the game. Also just nice to have scaling at the rare tier. You look through these clans, and a lot of them have no scaling at the rare tier. Wormkin does, Hellhorn does, Umbra essentially does, Smelting essentially does, but Stygian and Awoken, not really. Eternal Kinstone, I think, is fine, particularly when it's pink. Just I almost don't even care about the permanency of the actual effect here. I just care that it double inspires. And then Perfect Insanity, I've said it before and I said it again, it's technically a good card. It just never shows up in the runs where you want it, and it always shows up in the ones where you don't. That's just how the card is secretly programmed. I'll go into the code and prove it one day. But seriously, it is a little too niche to be considered good, I think, but I think it's like okay. It's a lifesaver when you need it. And similarly, I think Symphony of Soul is very niche. It doesn't work with its own clan, which is already a strike against it, but certainly with like Hellhorn and Awoken, those are the two clans I think most of all that you like to see this on. Either Spikes or Rage, it can be pretty nice. And Earth Remains is very similar to Kinstone. It's often just a double, sometimes a triple Inspire. But I think in general I value a permanent Echo slot better than a permanent Echo. So I think I like Earth Remains a little bit even more than Kinstone. And then Etchings is a pretty good card. As I look through this, this is one of the most balanced of all the rare tiers to me. Like, there's nothing that's like insanely good. Like, probably the best card in my opinion here is Echoes of the Past, but it's not like I wouldn't consider it like insanely good. It's approaching that level, but it's not like Furnace Tap or anything, right? It's not like Last Stand or Transcendent, but it is very good. And none of these cards are just straight up bad. They're the only ones I've come across so far where I look through these and I don't consider any of them bad. The closest to bad would be Insanity or Symphony of a Soul, because they're very situational, but I can make them work often enough that I would never consider them bad. I would even say, like, if I compare to like Cycle of Life, they're definitely better than that card. And then just everything else is like kind of in the middle to okay to good. So I think they're probably the second best rare tier. I think the best is Hellhorn, definitely. Like, there's just so many good cards, and like only one of them I consider to be like straight up bad. And even their bad one, I would say, has still technically upside and still has technically some use. Whereas like, I don't think Spreading Spores, for example, has any use. So I don't know. I think it's probably tied between Stygian and Awoken for worst rare, but certainly Awoken has the worst uncommon and common. Fight me about that. Yeah, Awoken, and here's a fucked up thing though. As I list all that out, Awoken still isn't the worst clan in the game, I don't think. It's either Stygian or Umbra. That would be my vote. My problem with Stygian is like, I just think to the Curse Seeds, right? It's almost always Stygian that's involved because they have no fucking scaling at all if you don't hit Incant. And those runs are miserable. They're absolutely miserable, and it's often enough that you just don't hit Incant. And I know people are really into Titan Century. I am too. I dare I say I think it's slightly overrated. Um, it's not this, you know, first off, you don't always find endless anyway, but uh, also just like even the endless, you know, the self-infused endless Titan Century, I don't think it solves the runs as much as people make it out to be. I've had plenty of runs where I've had like, just think like Pyro Wings Ring 7, right? I've had runs where self-infused Titan Sentry isn't going to do much there, and if you were relying on Titan Sentry to do a lot of things for you, it's not going to do hardly anything for you in that fight, and you're just going to die. You know, good luck letting a 240 health, like 24 regen thing get to your pyre and survive that, you know? If you can't finish it off with something. But I will say, to me, it's like, I guess my thing is like, it's like S tier in most people's books. To me, it's like A tier. I think it certainly is great to see, and it's definitely the best Stygian unit. But like, I don't know, when I compare to I would never put it above Vanos Will, Husk, or Shell. To me, these three are way better than Titan Sentry. These are S tiers. And it also just often requires you to have to use a Hell Vent to even make it work. Because I'll also go this, I think uninfused Titan Sentry is very underwhelming come late game. Like when you don't actually have the opportunity to self-infuse it, it's not that good. And yeah, I don't know. I think the sweepers are horrible. I'm becoming less and less a fan of them. They're just so bad. And even the sirens aren't that good. And Garda they named is only really useful for its essence. I don't know. I also hate melting a lot too, though. When you don't hit Paraffin Enforcer, and Baron I don't think fits in every run. Like, the others are all horrible. Like, Thug is horrible, Lady of the House is horrible, Lady of the Reform is horrible, Wickless Tycoon is horrible. You can't convince me otherwise. So I don't know. The only thing that's ever clear to me is that I definitely don't think you can argue that Hellhorn or Wormkin are the worst in the game. As for best, I think that's an argument that is tough to solidify. I kind of lean toward Wormkin being the best clan in the game, even though my favorite is Hellhorn, but worst I think isn't so obvious. Like, everyone always says Umbra. I'm not that convinced. Like, they suck. But I feel like all four of these clans have their own just breed of suck, and it just depends on the cursedness of the run, right? All four of them are so prone to just not having any scaling or not hitting on like useful just anything. Like, I want to say melting is better than the other three, but I don't know. I've had so many bad melting runs. The problem with the melting as a clan is, like, particularly when you're running dregs and as a secondary, like, you're not guaranteed to use like 75% of your clan's mechanics. Like, if you just miss on Reform, for example, and can't get some sort of intrinsic burnout extension, then you literally can't use like 75% of your clan. Even Rector, if you miss on Dark Calling in that situation, it's the same story. It's like, so I don't know. But I don't know. Umbra is quite bad. But they have the best common tier. And this video is like turning into something I never thought it would be. I'm just like reviewing everything now. What is this? Yeah, unit. You know, take away Antumbra Assault and everything's just amazing in the, well, I wouldn't say Pack Morsels is amazing, I'd say it's just okay, but I think Mind Collapse is amazing, I think Primal Dust is amazing, Immortal Trade's amazing, Perils is amazing, Space Prism is amazing. Maybe the best common, but making Morsel, I guess, is not technically amazing, but it can, making you a Morsel is the card that, like, opens you up to like Umbra, in my opinion. This is the card that makes Shroud Spike now god tier, right? Mitosis decent, makes even a Morsel Master takeable. So I don't know. I think making a Morsel is just good if you actually want to do Umbra things. But their banners are so bad. Their banners are so fucking bad. Which is so weird, because like Collector was so good pre-DLC. Like, so crazy how different. I'm telling you, Crucible Collector was like arguably the best banner unit pre-DLC, but I digress. It just guaranteed like Relentless, which is just so funny how that's like not at all the thing anymore that you worry about. Like rarely, but I don't know. I've become less and less of a fan of Shadow Eater. Just Alloy's like the only good. It's not even good, it's just the only takeable thing. Like, Warden is just untakeable. Master is almost always untakeable. Shadow Eater is borderline. I mean, unless you're running like Elhorn or Awoken, just untakeable. Gosh. And their rares, like, I don't know. I think Shadow Siege is bullshit. I think Overgorger is bullshit. And I hate Morsel Made just from a design perspective, but technically it's good. Technically. Even though your run is going to be so unfun to play after that. Unless you like waiting through every Morsel animation which can't be sped up. Unless you like that, I guess that's your unit. Alright, we can probably just not review every single card in the game. We could probably just do that. Let's not do that. Anyway, you get my picture. It'll come back to Awoken. It's like this clan has like nothing outside of these 3 units, in my opinion. Easily they'd be the worst clan in the game if you take away like even just one. If you nerfed like one of these units, then they're easily the worst clan in the game. If they have to go down to having only 2 broken units, they're the worst clan in the game. Easily. I digress. Anyway, thanks for watching. Until next time, peace.